Why is it that so many of us end up not rising, meaning not growing, not fulfilling our true potential? Well, this is the hot topic that we are going to dive right into the center of the fire and discuss today. I am David Mailer, your host, and we are going to go into the call to rise. Now, if you've listened to some of my previous podcasts, I believe that we all want the same thing. And what is that? We want one day on our deathbed for that last breath to be one where we have a smile on our face rather than one of regret. We want to know that we gave, we loved, we served with every ounce of our being. We want to go out where we feel victorious and triumphant, knowing that we left no rock unturned and that we gave it all and left it all on the field of life. We want to know that our life mattered, that we impacted others, we influenced others, we gave the fullness of our leadership, we gave the fullness of our heart and our soul to others, and we want to know that we're leaving behind a legacy to be proud of. And because we were born, the world is a better place. That's what we all want. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that we have gotten really good at believing that voice in our head, which I discussed on the previous episode. We've gotten good at listening to the pirates, listening to the saboteurs, believing that we're not good enough, believing that we're unworthy, believing that we're unlovable, feeling inadequate, feeling inept. We don't grow, we're scared. Or the problem is sometimes we try to accomplish all these things and have the successes and the accolades and the trophies and the plaques and the awards and the money and the homes and the kids and the wife because we think that somehow that will get us out of pain. We think that somehow that will fill the void and we won't feel unworthy and we'll finally feel like we're good enough. And that never works because we discussed that on a previous episode, that map and model of the world that was handed to us as men is broken. It never leaves a lasting smile on your face. In fact, one of the greatest pains you'll ever have is when you get everything you thought you wanted and then you still feel empty. So what's the problem underneath all of this is that we've gotten too good at tuning out what I call your soul. Your soul is a form of wisdom. It's a form of intelligence. It's a source of energy that has nothing to do with the mind. The mind is brilliant. The mind can solve mathematical equations. The mind can help you optimize your life. The mind can help you figure things out. But the mind is also where the pirates live and the saboteurs live. The mind is also feeding you those negative thoughts where you want to hurt yourself or hurt others. But there's this other form of energy, this other form of intelligence, this other source of wisdom that's called our soul. Maybe some of you call it your intuition, maybe some of you call it your gut, maybe some of you call it your heart. But we all have access to this inner knowing, this ability to tap into something where we know that we know, we don't know why we know, but we know that we know it to be true. We don't need the proof, we don't need the verification, we don't need to have the explanation. We just know that she comes in with a gentle whisper. Maybe for some of you, it's like, hey, you need to get out of a relationship. Or for some of you, it's, hey, leave this job and start your own company. We hear that voice, but we've gotten so good at tuning her out. We've gotten so good at silencing her. You see, then the negotiation happens inside of your head. And one of the banners inside of our Man on Fire 4-day immersions is your soul doesn't negotiate. What does that mean? It means you hear the truth, and that we've gotten really good at ignoring the truth. We're either really good at not hearing it whatsoever, or we've gotten good at hearing it but doing nothing about it. And so what does soul have to do? Well, she turns her whisper into a little bit louder of a knock. Maybe she has to hit you with a 2x4. Maybe she has to break down the door. Maybe she even has to have a breakdown in your life in order to grab you, in order to shake you, in order to get your attention, in order to wake you up to how asleep you've been. So why do so many of us not rise? Why are we not growing? Why are we not fulfilling our true potential? Well, so many of us have been trying to do all this so that we could prove we're enough. We got the awards and the plaques and the trophies and all the money and the homes and the wife and the kids so we can finally feel like we're enough. And we realize that doesn't work. So what works is that when you recognize I'm here to rise because that's the standard that's been laid down and set forth by my soul. I was born for more. I was born for greatness. I was born to be extraordinary. I was born to be phenomenal. Not so I could prove that I'm enough. It's because I remember that I'm enough. This is the true calling to rise. It's fueled from a different source. It's not fueled from your desire to feel significant and important and unique and stand out. It's not fueled from you trying to get away from pain. It's fueled from your remembrance that you came here to live into the fullness of your potential. It's like classic of like the type of clients that we've attracted over the years. One of them by the name of Mike, who's been with us for about 6 years, and he had everything. He had a plane, he had cars, he had the toys, he had the vacations, the wife, the 4 kids, made more money than most of us will make inside of 10 lifetimes. And yet, he almost took his life. And why is that? Because his map and his model of the world failed him. Why is that? Because he got good at tuning out soul. He got good at recognizing that he wasn't living into his full potential from the right source of energy. He was trying to do it from the mind. He was trying to do it to get away from his pain. And when he was almost facing a divorce, he almost wanted to end his life. And thank God he didn't. Thank God we helped him remember exactly who he is. And so that now what he has in his life, it's not to try to prove that he's enough. It's from the remembrance that he's enough. It's from the remembrance that I came here to grow. I came here to rise. I came here to fulfill my destiny. I came here to live into the fullness of my true potential. That's why we're really here. And everything else is just an illusion. Everything else is just a story. Everything else is just fear. So what's the message that I really want to convey to you guys today that are listening to this episode is you don't have to wait for a breakdown in order for you to rise, in order for you to grow, in order for you to have a breakthrough. Too many of us, because we've gotten so good at tuning out our soul, so good at ignoring that voice from our higher self, that voice from our future version that wants the best for us, that voice that connects us to our creator, our God, whoever that is for you. We've gotten so good at tuning her out that she's had no choice but to shake us so violently, so loud, that for some of us, maybe it's a car accident. For some of us, maybe it's the health crisis, the heart attack, the stroke, the cancer. For some of us, maybe it's a divorce. For some of us, it could be something else. But does it have to come down to that? Does it have to come down to a breakdown in order to have a breakthrough? Does it have to come down to a breakdown in order for you to wake up and remember that you came here to rise, you came here to grow, you came here for more, you came here to fulfill your true potential? Hey guys, this channel and conversation around manhood grows based upon your help and your support. Now, if you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped. Thanks again for all of your support. Now let's get back to the episode. So something I want you to consider for yourself is, do you want to rise? And why do you want to rise? These are the questions I want you to ask yourself. And if the answer is so that I'll finally feel like I'm enough, so I finally won't feel like a loser, I have news for you. It won't work. It's the harsh reality, unsugar-coated, giving it to you straight. It has to come from a different source. It has to come from the remembrance that you are enough. It has to come from your heart, not your head, not the pirates, not the saboteurs, not the false promise that if I do all these things, then I'll finally feel like I'm enough. No, this has to come from that deep remembrance that I was born for more. I was born to rise. I was born to grow. I was born to step into my full potential. I was born to leave a legacy. Everything else is a lie. Everything else is an illusion. And anytime you tune into any of our podcasts and you talk to anyone inside the Man on Fire Brotherhood, the Man on Fire community, we're going to always give it to you straight. We're going to remind you of how amazing you are. So question 1, why do I want to rise? Be honest with yourself. Question 2 is, if you were to rise, how would your life look different? How would your finances look different? How would your health look different? How would your marriage look different? How would your relationships with your children look different? How would your life be different if you were to truly rise? Question 3, how would others' lives be different because you chose to rise, you chose to grow, you chose to step into the fullness of your potential? One more question for you guys to consider. How long has it been that you've been tuning out your soul? That voice, that beautiful, beautiful voice that whispers to you and only wants to give you the truth. How long has it been? And the last question is, are you ready to dial into that frequency, to dial into that soul, to listen to that voice that has nothing to do with your mind, that speaks to your heart, that speaks the language of truth that you know you must live into? So, what I want you guys to do is to put into the comments any one of the answers to those questions. Am I ready to rise? How would my life look different? Who else would be impacted by me choosing to rise and me choosing to grow and me choosing to step into the fullness of my potential? All right, guys, thanks for being with me on today's episode, The Call to Rise, and I'll see you inside the next episode. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you'll know the next episode has dropped.